Hello, am I audible? And let's start. So, what we want to do today is first thing what I'll do for you all is let me just give you the notes and everything first. Let us do that and then we'll proceed for today. Yeah, I think that will be better. Okay, just I am searching for those notes for practicals. Which question do we need to write? Yeah, let's come back to that, Hari. Just give me a minute. I am first setting up for your servlet and JSP nodes. Okay, you know what I'll do is quickly just create one repo and add it up there, and I'll make it available for all. Let us just sort out the practical scenarios and other things today first before we start with the session, because uh, we I am talking see those questions normally Arun sir decides which practicals are supposed to be done, but on safer side we'll just prepare for all. I know they will not do all of them, but whatever we can do, let's check that out first. So I will just create a repo. Okay, every year I have to do this. Better I'll keep it on a repo. That way I will not have to worry about it at all. See, I have notes for JSP, JDBC, and Servlet. Hibernate and other thing I'm arranging from someone. I don't have my own written notes, but I am looking for some people who have done that, so we can check that out as well. And, for practical list, what exactly you have done? See, I have already added the codes for the practicals. Okay, so this is my add a new file. Okay, let me just push this first. So this will be my initial commit. Okay, so any one of you can basically just check this out. This is my link. I will just put it in the chat. You can check that out from there. So these are the notes what I was talking about. We so I used to work for a institute called as Tech Solutions. So these have all the things added there. You can check those out. Very college related answers there are, and you might have to update certain things here. Okay, so you have got JDBC ka link. In fact, I will just make the changes here so that it get updated. Okay. So I'll just change the link here so that you have it in your application as well. Okay, how many practicals we have done for servlet JSP? We have done all the practicals, right? When I say practicals, we have basically completed our list. JDBC practicals are not live on my channel, right? So what we can do here is see, you're not able to get the practicals from here. I just wanted to ask you that question. For those who you are doing here, you're not able to understand the practicals from the list we have. I have already added there. See, all the things are already available here as well. In fact, if you just go to your links here, like the codes what we have added, does any one of you have that practical sheet? I can open quickly and show it to you. See, you will get the servlet practicals, that is for sure. Uh, yeah, you have got the servlet practicals, you have got the JSP practicals. Normally, sir will add those practicals only, servlet and JSP practicals. Then you have got Hibernate practicals. And Spring, I don't think sir will add Spring practicals. So, okay, just tell me one thing. Whatever practical you add in your journal, only those practical come into your exam then? Is it how it works? Or so how does it work? Anyone? Okay. So, for example, you have got this. How many practicals list do you have? Anyone of you have that? I think I have it somewhere. I'll have to check. Let me just, yeah, yeah, you can write it from here. That is what I'm saying. I have actually completed all the practicals. Well, so when you are asking now, only JDBC practicals were not live. I think even I have added those recently. See, this one na, is your practical 6 till. See, this is all your JDBC practicals here. This one contains all your JDBC practicals. I will just give you the list. Don't worry. Let's sort this out today. I've planned that in the session today itself, I will sort out everything so that we don't have to worry about it. Okay. So if we go to your practical list, let us take your practical list from here. Okay, this is your practical list, right? This is your advanced Java practical list. Let us let me show you what all things I have and where do I have those. Okay, servlet we have one, two. Okay, these three practical first. Where are these practicals? I'll show it to you. See, this is first one is what prime number practical. Second is what entered number from HTML and palindrome. Third is in the range. See, if you go to my repository here, this one, you will be able to find it like this is my prime number servlet. See, the code is same. The code is exactly same. Now, only thing what we have done different here in this particular training is we have not added what you can say. We have not added for. See, I'll better just add it up here for your sake. That will be much more better for me as well. How many practicals in servlet do we have? Uh, five, four, five practicals, right? Let me just update that code here. Uh, so we have got in JDBC, we have got six practicals. Let us take that practical list from here. Yeah, this is from 1.1. This is 2. I don't think I have. I must be having all this. Even servlet, yeah, JSP. Let us take only first 5 practical till now. Okay. So this first one, where do I find the link for it? Prime number code is here. This is my Java code. This is second and this is third. Now let's go back to our repo and see. This is second. Prime number. What was the second one? Palindrome servlet, right? Second one was palindrome servlet. Yeah. So number entered from HTML and that part. So that will be coming from here. See, this is my palindrome servlet, and what we have done is do get and do post. See, so here there will be two things required. First, I will take this part. So this will be my for palindrome first one, and I will have one more which will be for the HTML page. This is the link for HTML, and where will you find that HTML? That HTML we normally keep it inside. If you have this, see, inside this main I have got this web app, and this web app will contain that HTML. I guess we must have created a name length or name.html, which is, see, this is the one which is calling the palindrome servlet. Okay, so let us take that second link. So the second link is updated. Now we have got this name. Then third one is what? Write a servlet program to print all even numbers between two entered numbers. What is that practical in our code right now? What was that? Between any other number except name another servlet even number. Yeah. So start and end number you can provide here. So this is what this particular practical means. So even number servlet. See, find all the even numbers between this link. Okay, I will push till this point. See how it looks like. Okay, is this good now for you? Everyone who are like, I've got a lot of messages, so I'm just talking about it. Is this good for you now? Like, are you understanding what I'm trying to do here? So if you go to the, okay, yeah, I've got the questions, but this is fine, right? This way, if we set it up now, it will be easier for you to connect with the codes and do your work. So this particular link will directly take you to that file where you can find your practical list. Yep. Same way, let me complete it for other practicals also, and so that we will just be out of this, and we don't have to worry about anything there. Yeah. So if I go back, write a program where user enter a name and you send back the length of the name. So second practical is which send write a program which is for length of name. So you can see in our practical list we have got length servlet, and okay, so this is our servlet, but it requires I think it requires a Java file as well, or sorry, an HTML file as well. So that is also something we'll need to add. Mhm. This is my link for HTML. So which HTML will have to connect here is under this web app. We have got name length, which is connecting to the length servlet. So this is the HTML you will write with that. Okay, write a HTTP servlet to accept the value from the table and insert them into the table, right? Okay. Let's see which is this one. Insert movie servlet. So here you will have to make some changes, because this is when I wrote this practical, it was more towards MySQL. So will you be able to make those changes into the servlet based on that? Everyone, will you be able to make the changes into the servlet based on this? Yes, no, something. We have already done JDBC. We have already done JDBC with servlet. So I think this should not be a problem anymore. So here we have got this servlet which says write a servlet to accept the values from a table and insert into it. And here it will have to make a lot of changes. That is the problem. Let's see. But you can make the changes, right? इतना तो आता है यार तुम लोग को अभी सिखा दिया है. We've done a lot of things, in lot of practicals in this, right? So this was what? Let's see. This was it in do post? Yeah, we are accepting in do post. So we'll also have our movie.html, which will be what it is passing to store movie. Okay, this action is going to store movie. Don't want that one. We had movie insert movie servlet. So this is the servlet you will have to add up in your. This is your link for HTML. Okay, then write a servlet to fetch the movie at ID 9. This one servlet is coming from fetch movie servlet, whatever ID you pass. So you pass the ID here. This is good. Only one thing will be required. So here I have got my practical. Okay, released between these two dates. So how will we find that? Mm, fetch movie servlet range. Okay, accept name another servlet. Fetch movie servlet. Lowercase. Yes, this code is 100% correct. People are using this फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम. आप लोग मतलब वी आर डू पता नहीं क्या हो गया, आप लोग यूज़ नहीं कर रहे. आई डोंट नो व्हाई इज़ दैट, बट ये पूरा कोड हम लोग ने लिखा हुआ है. दिस इज़ पीपल आर यूजिंग दिस फॉर अ वेरी लाइक बहुत सालों से लोग यही यूज़ कर रहे हैं. सो देयर इज़ नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. खाली आप लोग को वो सिंक में नहीं समझ रहा था, इसके लिए आई एम डूइंग दिस फॉर यू सो दैट यू कैन वर्क ऑन इट. ठीक है. Then we have got write a servlet program to accept a number. If number is equal, then redirect or then redirect in this way. We'll do that also. Redirection servlet. See, redirection servlet accept a number. हाँ, ये देखो ये वाला वही servlet है. So इसका नहीं है लिस्ट, तो we'll just skip that practical also. Yeah, no worries about that. तो यहाँ पे आप देखोगे अभी पहला प्रैक्टिकल कौन सा है हमारे पास, रीडायरेक्शन सर्वलेट. लेट मी जस्ट लिंक इट अप फॉर यू देयर. दिस इज रीडायरेक्शन सर्वलेट. Then write a servlet program to redirect request to another servlet as a parameter. Okay. So ये वाला कौन सा है? Okay, वही वाला है लोअर केस सर्वलेट. ये हम लोग आज कवर करने वाले. सो okay. Then write a Java program to write a name from HL, store in the session and redirect. So यहाँ पे कौन सा सर्वलेट आएगा? So accept name servlet, store it in the session and then pass it in this one. So we have got two servlets here. One is this one. One is this one. Internally they have two practicals. So the second link I am giving it to you here. And then we also need to have the HTML page. So where is that HTML page? Here. Accept name servlet. So this is my link to HTML. Okay, these are my complete servlet practicals. Okay. See JSP वाला practicals we are not covered it yet, so let's not spend time on that right now. JDBC हमने complete किया है. So let me pick up the JDBC practicals quickly from here. Okay, so let me add the JDBC part here now. So this was already there. We have done this part. In fact, you must be knowing that I have already added this practical in the same list, and I've covered all those practicals in a one single go. So if you want, you can actually see this contains all your practicals. Do you want me to give this one also step like one by one for all the practicals you have, or will you be able to fetch it up from there? In fact, I have not added all of them. I think I have added the highest temperature wala first. Other queries I need to add. So I will give you the link for this one for highest temperature one which we are doing. See, retrieve the highest temperature for Mumbai here. Mm, Next are just the changes in the list, so that should not take a lot of time. So आप लोग इसको कर लेना पहले. This first question will only take you a lot of time. यू नो हाउ बिकॉज यहाँ पे सेटअप करना है, पूरा डेटा इंसर्ट करना है. रिसोर्सेज में मैंने स्क्रिप्ट रखा हुआ है, तो वो उसको सैम्पल डेटा इंसर्ट करेगा. ओके, सो देर आर मोर क्वेश्चंस आउट देयर विच यू कैन जस्ट एड अप फ्रॉम हियर. द हाईएस्ट टेम्परेचर वाला लिंक and temperature for Delhi, Mumbai, list the temperature for Bangalore and so on. तो ये तो बस query changes करना है. We can I can show it to you how you can be done. It can be done. But first वाला setup करा के दे रहा हूँ. Or should I complete the practicals for JDBC itself? नहीं, I need to complete servlet today. So I will just like give you the practical and I will record this today. JDBC practical one practical is done. So if you go to this practical, are you able to understand what I have done here for this link resource? Don't worry, I shall add you. I have not went there for a long time. Okay, I would like you to please go to that link once and check that out. I have listed the practical. Like, is that clear for people who are asking me questions about like practical list and all those things? अभी क्लियर है आप लोग को like कहाँ पे जाके क्या करना है, what practicals you need to write. In fact, I was just going to make a call to Arun sir. Okay, so I've spoke to Arun sir. He said I can give you the list of the practical which you can add. So yeah, let's go for that then. From the so how many practical normally you add in your, how many to overall practical you need to add, right? This is the list, correct? This is the list. So from one, how about you do the first one? 7 to 8 नहीं होता है, 15 होता है overall. See, this is the one, first one you want to do. Then in the second one, so how do I share it with you? Let us write it somewhere. Okay, how about I'll share the link with you? Like I'll on the WhatsApp group I will share this practical one and practical two and sub practical, which I think should be important in context to covering our syllabus. Okay, so I hope this is clear for you all now. I hope this all thing is clear for you. Okay, so this repository will be your single point of entry. Wherever, like whatever new things also I want to add, I will just add it up here. I hope that is also fine for you. And now let's proceed. We have already covered. See, I was yeah, yeah, I need to write the same things in the journals as well, so you can follow along on that. That is why I am giving you that as well. Like whole thing I am giving you because of the same part. Now, the next important factor which we need to understand is something what we call as session tracking in servlet. Okay, what do you mean by session tracking in servlet? So session tracking, remember one thing, you will come across this a lot. HTTP is a stateless protocol. HTTP is a stateless protocol. What do you mean by stateless protocol? That you make a conversation with HTTP from a file, it will return you back and then it will not remember you. For example, let's say there is a login page. Now you got logged in here, like you make a request from your HTML page that I want to log in. It will say, okay, you are logged in, you are successfully logged in. But then you say, okay, now show me the profile picture. It will say, who are you? You know, this happens with HTTP. HTTP is a stateless protocol. It will not remember you after your initial conversation. Yeah, it will not remember you after your initial conversation. So what exactly happens here, to avoid this, so session tracking, they have something called as, so normally what will happen for all the pages which we are talking about, all the pages which we are talking about, ठीक है, जितना पेज आपका सेशन में पड़ा हुआ है, there is a HTTP session which is enabled. It's, I consider it like a cloud for me. Okay, and then this is your session object which is available for all the users. What you can do is whenever you are done something, आप सर्वलेट में कर लोगे तो आप इसको ना स्टोरेज के लिए यूज करोगे. And whatever you store here are called as attribute. Whatever you store in the session are called as what? Attribute. Attribute, unlike parameter, can be made up of, like, see, when you have a parameter, how it comes? It's like key is equal to value, right? Where key is string and value is also string. But when it comes to the attribute में क्या होता है? Attribute is also key value pair, but key is string and value can be any object. Yeah, your value can be any of the object. So what exactly we need to do here is, we have this key, we have this value. So this value can be string and value can be of any type of object. Okay, so let us quickly just try that out. So in fact, I want to show it to you from our codes itself, from the notes itself. How does it looks like? See, for servlet request, servlet response, see, this is what we have started with. So we have got HTTP session. HTTP session provides a way to identify a user across more than one page. Yeah, whatever are your pages, it will help you to acquire, like it will help you to identify a user beyond that one page. So servlet container uses this interface to create a session between HTTP client and server. The session persists for a specified time period according across more or one connection. So here, how do we get the session and how do we work with it? So there are two ways of doing that. First is session, second is cookies. So let me go to that practical part of it and see how it is done. So in the session tracking, for example, what we want to do is a date servlet. I want to find out when was the last, is this your first visit, second visit, third visit in that same part. So I'll keep on going to that page again and again and again. And then I will tell them what that I want to add up this. So how we do that, whenever we start the page, I will get the session first. And in that session, I will add certain elements into it. Yeah, I will add certain elements to it. So let's try this out practically now. The idea is, what do you want to achieve here? That I go to a page, it should say me that is it my first visit, is it my second visit, is it my third visit, and so on. So what we do here, in my servlet list, let me create a new Java class. Let me call it as date and visit servlet. Date and visit servlet, I'll call it as at web servlet. Let's call it as date and visit servlet, and I will extend this with HTTP servlet. And under my HTTP servlet, what do I have got? I have got doGet method. So servlet request, servlet response. Then we have got servlet exception, and we have got IO exception. So we need to make imports of all of this. See in the code, if you see that notes, I have imported everything very properly. What you want to do? This is how you're supposed to write your outputs in exam. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to write your outputs in exam as well. So this way, what we do next is we say response dot set content type, then print writer, pw out is response dot print writer. Now what I want to do is I want to fetch my session first. So I'll say http session is request dot get session. First, let us fetch the session. Once we fetch the session, I have to check whether that session contains any body or not. So for that, I am going to do what? I'm going to add a date object. So date is coming from java.util. I'll say date last visited, and I will just say session.get attribute. I told you, right? It will return me an object and I am casting that into a date. So session.get attribute, and I am going to add what? A last visited date inside my session if it is not found. Like, try to understand the whole working here. Then I say if my last visited is equal to null, that means user is coming here for first time. So I will say last visited is new date, and I will add up that particular date into my session now. Yeah, let me add that date into that session. So I'll say in this situation, what will I do? First, let me just say out dot println welcome. This is your first visit. End of H1. And else, when I find the date at this time, I will say out dot println. That means this person have already come to my page earlier. So I will just say welcome back. Last visited is when last visited dot toString. So it will take the old date and tell me that this is when they have visited back. And now I do what? I will simply just add up my date. So I'll say session dot set attribute. So after I have added, I will say I want to say I have last visited here when this last visited ka date, and then I do what, out dot close. So this is how you write a session. Let me try this out. Yeah, welcome. This is your first visit. Then when I refresh this, okay, every time date is going blank. Let's see why is that. Because when we are passing the attribute, when I refresh this, this should not be null. So this is what last visited session dot set attribute, and then I pass last visited. Okay, this is I have never set it back. So now I'll say that my last visited is new date, and I'll have to reload this. So if I refresh this, this will say this is your first visit, but this time it is saying this is when you have visited last. If I refresh again, see the dates are getting updated. Yeah, the dates are getting updated. Understanding what we have done here? So can we try this out quickly? Yeah, Akshat. Okay, so are we done with this? You got what we have done here. I will just You know what? I'll just paste this code in the chat box. You can check it up from there. I will push this to the repo. Yeah, that will be much better. Session tracking. Push. Okay, how about let's complete the session first and then we'll talk about that. Yeah, because I need to cover servlet today. Now, see, these were all the heavy topics which will be done today. So we'll require only like around 4 or 5 sessions complete the rest part, because JDBC and servlet takes the maximum time in the training. Now whatever topics are next after this, like we have got JSP, so JSP will maximum take 1.5 session. Then we have got Hibernate, so Hibernate will go on for two, like again 1.5 session. Spring will go for 2 sessions, and then we have got email and JSON, which will wrap up in 1 session itself. So, like I just want to complete servlet today so that I am mentally free that okay, servlet is done, because these are very what you can say heavy topics which I need to cover. Okay, so let me know once you're done with this. So this part is done. Next is what? So what are the question related to that? See here. Write a Java program to get a name from an HTML form and put the name in the session and redirect the flow to another servlet. So we don't need to worry about like that is one session all apart. Then other tools are the redirection servlet. So we'll come to redirection. Yeah. Then, so you got how does the session work? Now in the same application, if I have to update to do what? To take the count as well. Like how many times have you visited? This is your visit number. So how can I do that? Let's say, so this time I can say integer visit number is integer of visit number. So I'm trying to fetch it first. If I don't find it, what you know what will I do? I will say this is your visit number one, and then I can simply just add session dot set attribute, and here I will add my visit number, and this will be hard coded one. Why? Because this is the first time you're visiting, right? So I will just simply go here and say new integer of 1. Yeah, on other hand, if that is not the case, what will I do is in this particular part I will okay, rather than doing this multiple times, I can do what? I can simply just say that my visit number value, I will just increase it to new integer of 1, and then here whatever value I got, visit number is my visit number value plus 1, and then here I can actually set it back. So I'll say session dot set attribute for my visit number. Now see what will happen in this situation. We put some data into our session, we put some data into the session, and I can also just give it to you. This is your first visit, Welcome back. I can just simply say my visit number is visit number dot int value, and I reload. And if I go back to the page now, see, okay, null pointer exception line 26. Where is that line 26? Here it is. Welcome back. Visit number is okay. Why is this giving us an exception for null pointer exception? Because this was null at first time, but if last visited is null. This is your first visit, and then I update. See, my visit numbers are also increasing now. Yeah, so it will tell me how many visits have been updated. So this is what we do in our servlet JSP session tracking with counter as well. Yeah, with the counter. You can find out this recent codes, whatever I am pushing, they will be available at this repo. Your This is your repo for servlet JSP session codes. So you can find it out here. Okay. Now the next part is about session tracking for cookies. Now session tracking can also be done using cookies. So for cookies part, you know what are cookies? Have you heard about cookies before this? Have you heard about cookies before this? So cookie class encapsulate a cookie. Now, whenever a website starts, like if they want to set up something in your cookies area, they set up the cookies like this. So cookie is stored on the client. It is stored on the browser. Yeah, and it contains the state information. They are not very not something which we recommend a lot nowadays. Nowadays or not ever, we don't recommend it. So cookie are valuable for tracking user activities. For example, assume that a user visits on an online store. A cookie can save the username, address, and other information. The user does not need to enter the data each time they visit. Yeah, a servlet can write a cookie to the user machine via add cookie method of HTTP response part. Yeah, and the data for that cookie is that included in the header of the HTTP response that is then sent to the browser. So a cookie contains four parts: name, value, expiration, and domain, and the path of the cookie. The expiration date determines whether the cookie will when the cookie will be deleted, and if it is not explicitly assigned to the cookie, it will be deleted when the current browser session ends. So how do we create a cookie? See, like we have got an example for cookie as well. Let me see that example. So here we have got, now let's develop a servlet that illustrate how to work on a cookie. Just a second. Huh? Okay. So here add cookie.html allow a user to specify the value for the cookie what I want to store in my application. Then we have got add cookie that will allow the submission. So here what I can do that I want to store a cookie in my value, whatever the name is, yeah, that is what I can add. So and then we have got add cookie. See what is add cookie doing? Accepting the value and setting that value into the cookie. And we, you can go and check the cookies in your browser. So and then this is a code where we can fetch the cookies and check that out. So let us start with that. First, let us write a code to accept the cookie. New, and let me call it as add cookie servlet. Inside this add cookie servlet, I'll say add web servlet, and this is what slash add cookie, which I'm going to do what extends HTTP servlet, and I want to override do post method now. Yeah, I want to override do post method. So I have got this request, I have got this response, and then what I do, I'll accept the incoming value from the user that I want to store it in my cookie value. So I'll say response.set content type, then print writer is this one. Then I say string value is equal to request.get parameter of value, and this time I say cookie cookie is equal to new cookie, and then let me store the cookie by the name. What is the name I have used in my code as well? Let me see that. Okay, let me call my cookie as my data cookie, and then what I do is response dot add cookie. I will add that cookie into my response. Yes, and what we can do now is println head servlet add cookie end of head body, and I'll say out dot println. So my data cookie has been added to the browser. Now whatever you pass in your add data, by like whenever you pass in your value part will be added into this cookie now, whatever it can be. Yeah? End of body, end of HTML. So this is my first servlet. In fact, just to save our time, I will just call it using do get. So I can just pass question mark value is equal to something, and that will get stored now. So I will run this. So I don't need an HTML right now. I can simply just work with this one. So I say go to servlet JSP demo and let me call add cookie question mark value is equal to, let's say I pass my name, and it say my cookie has been added to the browser. Now if I go to inspect element and if I go to network, where do I find, I don't remember where do I find our cookies. Anyone remember that in the memories or somewhere we find cookies? Hmm, let me ask ChatGPT. So let's go to application tab. See, this is the cookie which has been added into my browser now. Hmm? Getting this? Are you understanding how do you add a cookie inside your application using this? And now if you want to fetch that cookie as well, if you want to fetch that cookie as well, how do you? Okay. Now what we do next is I need to write a code which will help me to fetch that cookie. So how do you fetch that cookie? So for that, let me write new Java class fetch servlet. Sorry, fetch. It should be fetch cookie servlet. Fetch cookies, and then again it is what extend HTTP servlet, and under my HTTP servlet, how do we fetch those cookies? So this will return us from the request now. So I'll go to do get. I will say give me the list of the cookies request dot get cookies. Request and response of get cookies. And next what I do is if cookies is not equal to null, then I will obviously have to get all my cookies. Now I'll put it on the response. So response dot set content type print writer pw. So if cookies object is not null, what will I do? For cookie in cookies, let me do out.println get name and out.println get value. So whatever cookies are set here, I will get those name, I will get those values, and I'll go for okay. I'll execute this. So given that the cookies are already set, see this will return me the list of cookies which are already set in my browser. How do we do that? So here I have added the cookie. Now this time I'll say fetch cookies. Okay, there was some error. I'll just restart and let's see what is the problem. Okay, I missed that slash. See, whatever sessions are available in my cookies, they have given me all of them here. Yeah, whatever sessions are available, they have given in all of them. You getting this? How do we fetch the cookies? Now, this is the problem with cookie is anyone can access any cookies that are on my browser. Yeah, anyone can access any cookies that are already available on my browser. This is a problematic scenario. So something which we have to be taken care of. So I'll commit this. This is my cookies part. And now the last part in our servlet sessions is see when you create an application using servlet, it is not going to be like this is something where we have to understand. We have got something called as inter-servlet communication. Yeah, we have got inter-servlet communication. Now inter-servlet communication happens with two ways. Happens in two ways. So what do you mean by inter-servlet communication? The inter-servlet communication is basically how do you pick up a servlet and how do you make that servlet talk to another servlet? Yeah, how do you pick up a servlet and then once you are done, for example, you are doing login, then from login, you want to go to logged in page or let's say your dashboard page, correct? Now you cannot go and type it in the browser. that I have logged in, now take me to the logged in or logged out page. So in that situation, what we need to do is there are two ways we can work on it. So first way of working on it is something what we call as there is a method. Yeah, there is a method which is called as what, response dot send redirect. Let us refer to the notes. So there are various instances where servlet within the same container or different container require communicating with each other. There are basically two ways of making servlet intercommunicate with each other. First is response dot send redirect, and second is what, request dispatcher. Second is request dispatcher. Send redirect method is of belongs to servlet. This method sends a temporary redirect response to the client using specified redirect location URL which is passed as an argument, and this also allows relative URL to be passed, later converts it into the absolute URL. Yeah. Now here, given that S5 and the servlet through which the call is made are in the same container, and this is an old way of communicating and not so efficient way of working, because response is sent towards the client and then response. So the call will go to your response. See, when you make a request and you want to redirect, so it will send the request back to the browser, and then only it will pass it ahead. Yeah. So another disadvantage of that, all the parameters which comes with the initial servlets are lost and then they cannot be resent here. But on other hand, this is something which will be required when you want to communicate with the outside world. Yeah. On other hand, we have got something called as request dispatcher. It's like internal servlet. It is made for internal communication of the servlet. And there are two ways. One we have got include and one we have got a forward function. So let us work on. So how does this request dispatcher work? So request dispatcher provides an elegant way of communicating among servlet with no overheads of client reps. Request dispatcher is an interface in javax.servlet package. As servlet within the same container are allowed to be communicated, your communication between does not involve any client trips. Yeah, with addition to request parameters from initial requests are simply propagated to the target service. So this is an interface, and it has two methods. It includes the content of the resource like servlet JSP in the response, and here the control is being passed to the assign till the execution of the resource, and then it is given back. On other hand, forward will give the servlet ahead to the another one. Now what will happen in this one is, if you check your practical list, see what does it say. Write a servlet program to accept a number. If the number is even, redirect to purplesq.com. If number is odd, redirect to google.com. So if I write this redirection servlet, let's say uh, what I do is we'll write redirection servlet. See now how this will work. So I've got web servlet, and then I say this is slash redirection servlet. Now what happens under the redirection servlet is I'll say what extends HTTP servlet, and let me do it under do get itself. So it will be what, do get. Under my do get, you know what I do? I say let me accept the number, and if the number is, see, simple is what I want here is response.set content type. I don't need print writer because I'm going to redirect it in anyhow. I will simply just say int number is equal to request.get parameter of number. If my number mod 2 equals 0 means the number is even, you know what I'll do here? Simply I've got the operation clarified. I'll say response dot send redirect, and here you know where will I pass? I will pass them to http colon slash slash www dot hinduja college.in. Okay, and else if that goes, I will say it will go to codewithz.com. So if the number is odd, okay, it will go to codewithz.com. Let us see how does this servlet works. So in this particular part, what will I do? Refresh. I'll close this one for now, and I'll say redirection servlet question mark number is equal to 2. If I pass number is equal to 2, see, it is taking me to hindujacollege.com. Straight away, the redirection happens. And if I say redirection servlet number is 21, moment I do this, okay, it is redirecting and it is going to codewithz.com. Okay, is this clear, everyone? What I have tried, like what we have been understanding about inter-servlet communication. Yeah, we have been trying about inter-servlet communication. So this is one way of doing that. Now the last part in inter-servlet communication is when we try to send the request internally to another servlet, where I try to do, let's say, login and something, and then I want to pass on that data to another servlet, and that servlet will now check whether it is okay or it is not okay. Yeah, it is okay or it is not okay. So how do we do that? So let's say, let's create a simple scenario here. Mm, I'll create a login servlet. See, I'll create a login servlet. So I have got, let's say I will have a login.html. We will pass into login servlet. And from the login servlet, what will I do? I will have a dashboard servlet. Okay. If the login happens, we will pass them to dashboard servlet. If the login reply is failed, I will send them back to login servlet. Okay. Good enough example to end our servlet sessions. Yeah, that we have got this. So let me ask, I will just take okay, let us write an HTML page quickly. I asked ChatGPT to write one for me. It is writing a lot of things. Okay. So, first thing what I'll do is I'll go to my, you remember we go to the web app. Inside this web app, I'll write a HTML file and let me call it as login.html. And under this login.html, I will just simply write my, see, I don't need all this fonts and everything, but it has given us no problem. So if I go to my servlet JSP and if I say it is login.html, my login HTML page is looking like this right now. So I have got email and password. So how does that look like? Here is I have got a form. Yeah, that is, this is part I'm interested for. So form action is what? Submit. So I will change the action. Then I've got input type is email, ID is email, name is email. Input type is password, and ID is password, name is password, and then we have got submit. Button type is submit, and so I'll have to just change that to submit. I, I can just make this change that my input type is submit, and this should be fine here. Correct. This should be 100% fine. Input type is Submit. Okay. Now I will write a login servlet and I'll write a very simple logic. Okay. Let's call it as login servlet. And in login servlet, I'll say at web servlet. And this is nothing but my login hyphen servlet, which extends HTTP servlet. And here I write my do post. Yeah, here I write my do post. So it will be what request response and response.set content type print writer. Now this time I'll accept the username and password. So it will be what string email, string password. I am accepting from the end user. And you know what I'll do is I will say if email equal admin and password equal admin, then only it is logged in. Else I want to do what? I want to do something else. Okay. So this is fine. If email is admin and password is also admin, I will just write or I will say admin at gmail.com and password is admin. Then we'll do what? We'll pass them on to a dashboard servlet. So dashboard servlet is where I'll write a Java class and call it as what? Dashboard servlet. Remember the dashboard servlet now needs to be a do post because you're not calling it from a form. You're calling it from you're calling it from internally. So here I'll say what this is my dashboard, and in my dashboard I say do get request response, and here I can simply say print writer pw response.set content type, then string email is request.get parameter, and then I will say out.println uh, welcome to our application, and I'll just show their email here. So this is my end of HTML. Now what I do from my login servlet, I'll have to just make one small change. From my login servlet, I'll have to say that I have a request dispatcher. Request dispatcher RD is equal to request dispatcher, and this will be now pointing to what? Dashboard. Yeah. Now I'm not sure about that slash, and then I say RD dot forward request and response. And if this is not the case, if it goes to the else block, then what will I do? I will say response dot. In fact, here also I can do the same thing. I will create another request dispatcher, and this time I'll pass it to login.html, and I'll say I'll pass it on to request and response. Now let's see what happens. So the whole game will start from login.html. Refresh this. I will say admin at gmail.com. Password is admin. Okay. Yeah, I have to make that change, that the login.html should now point to login servlet. Yeah, it should now point to login servlet, what I've done in others. Okay, then I refresh this. So this is admin@gmail.com. Then we also have admin here. I enter and it says method is not allowed for login servlet. Let's say what is that problem. So login servlet was what? Do get. I guess here also I'll have to do post because they have to be of exact same type. Okay, welcome to our application admin@gmail.com. And once I am done with that, let me reload. And this time I say admin, and now I pass 1 2 3 4 5. The moment I log in, see it throws me back to my login page. So this is how you generate your inter-servlet redirections happen. Okay, are we clear on this? Inter-servlet redirections. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the servlet part, and mostly we will have a session tomorrow as well. So yeah, we'll start with JSP and mostly we'll end with JSP as well tomorrow. Yeah, so thanks a lot, and yeah, we'll meet tomorrow then. Thank you. Any questions? Anything you want to ask? Okay, then. Thanks a lot.